Good morning, friends, and welcome to my channel. I am Crystal, and this is Homemaking on the Homestead. And in today's video, I am going to share with you 10 tips and ideas on how you can save money. In today's economy, I think anything that we can do is going to be a help. Some of these may work for you, some of these may not, but maybe you'll find something that'll really help you out. So, let's get started. Before we get started on these 10 tips, make sure you stay all the way to the end because I think number 10 is actually the best tip. I have made a lot of videos over the last few years on frugal living. I have a whole entire playlist, which I can link below in the description box, and you can check out those. So in today's video, I'm going to try to move beyond some of the basic things that I've already shared with you in the past. Some of these might be a repeat, but I'm going to try to give you things to, maybe help you out even more than some of the tips that I've already shared. And if you haven't seen those videos, then do go make sure you check those out. So number one is ways to save money on your electric bill. Now, I live in the Pacific Northwest, and everything here is electric. We don't have gas. We live out in the country, so we don't have natural gas available to us, and we don't use propane. I know a lot of people in the country might use propane. So everything, though, for us is electric, and I find that the biggest things that will raise your electric bill are the oven, the dryer, and if you have a heating system that is electric. Ways to lower your electric bill are, people talk about these things all the time. And I hear everything from hanging your clothes out on a line or drying racks to unplugging appliances, shutting off lights. So of all those things, the biggest question is, what has the biggest impact on your electric bill? And what things don't really affect it much at all? Because we could all be going through a lot of things like unplugging appliances, and in the end, we don't really know that it's even actually saving us money. So here is my tip on how to know if what you're doing is actually saving you money, is to read your electric meter. And I know that might sound like an arduous task, but you don't have to do it forever, and it will give you some very immediate feedback rather than waiting for the electric bill to come and wondering whether or not all the little things you did that month were having an effect on the bill. You simply go out and read the numbers that are on your meter in the morning, and 24 hours later you read them again, and that will tell you how many kilowatt hours you used the day before. This way, if you kind of track that for a period of time, it doesn't have to be a long time, then you can see basically, well, what are we using electric-wise every day? So you might have a day where you use 8 kilowatts and a day where you use 20, and then you can realize, wow, okay, I did a lot of laundry yesterday, I did a lot of baking yesterday, now I can see why I use that many kilowatts. So the other thing that this helps is that if you spend a few days unplugging your coffee maker, your toaster, your any other devices that you might have in the house, and you look at your electric bill and see what was on average the change that happened, and you can say not much, or hey, that was a good thing to do. Anyway, it's a way to get immediate feedback. You don't have to wait for the bill to come, and you can just get immediate feedback. But to recognize that the big energy costs in your home, the ones that suck up the most electricity, and find ways to reduce those things. Number 2, track your expenses. I know a lot of people might think that this is just like way over the top, but I tell you, my husband has been doing that for years. He has tracked his expenses, our expenses, and so we knew where basically every penny was going. This is really valuable because we can indiscriminately spend money buying a coffee, grabbing something from, while you're out shopping, an impulse buy, and all of those things add up, and at the end of the month, you're like, where did the money go? Because I have nothing to show for it. If you track your expenses, you will be able to go back and look and see, wow, did I really spend that much on coffee this month? Okay, I think I can cut back in that direction. That makes you more aware when you're in the store of not grabbing those impulse items, but write a list and stick to your list. You can use anything from a sheet of paper to start working it on to computer programs, phone apps. There's all kinds of ways that it can help you track your expenses. And My husband typically categorizes things, so there's groceries, there's fuel, there's travel expenses when we travel. So that way it's not just a jumbled mess of numbers, but we actually know what we're spending in each of our main areas. Number 3 is to check and make sure that the tires on your car are properly inflated. This is especially true as we change into different seasons, because the outside temperature will affect the level of inflation of your tires. And each car has a proper setting, which is different. So you need to look at your owner's manual and find out, just to make sure, and take your car in if you don't do it yourself, and occasionally, beyond just the oil changes, to occasionally have someone check the tire pressure. Not only will this save you money on your tires, because properly inflated tires will last longer, but it will also make your car run more efficiently, which will save gas. Number 4 is pantry planning, and this particular tip came from one of my viewers, and I think it's a great idea. So she took the time to go through all of her things in her pantry that she regularly consumes and regularly buys, and write them all down, and then calculate at what rate do you go through these things, and how much will you use in a month. Like coffee, how many cans of coffee or pounds of coffee beans, or however you buy it, how many will you use this month? Shampoo or toothpaste or flour, any of those types of basic pantry staples and household staples do you use, and how many will you use in a month? When they go on sale, then you know that if you are able to buy at that point X number of them, then they will last you for this much time. Number 5 is keep your cooking simple. I think it's easy to get wrapped up in recipes and complicated recipes, or recipes with an ingredient list that's a mile long. Unless cooking is a hobby for you and it is something that you enjoy doing in your downtime, I recommend that you keep your meals as simple as possible. Have basic pantry items, cook your meals from scratch, and keep it very simple. That way you do not need a host of various ingredients on your pantry shelf, or a refrigerator full of condiments or ingredients that you bought for a particular recipe and then never used again. If you have basic recipes, simple meals, you can cook so much variety. It's staggering how much. And with the internet and cookbooks or anything like that, you can learn to cook from scratch and become very good at it, and keep those meals simple. It will save you money in the long run with a much more simplified pantry. Number 6 is wear an apron. I usually get up in the morning after I get dressed and I get going, I put an apron on. And I do that even if I'm not spending a lot of my time in the kitchen, because I might be cleaning and doing other things, and aprons will protect your clothing. It will make the clothing that you wear last longer without getting dirty and spots and stains on them. There's a reason why our grandmothers and great-grandmothers all wore aprons, because in those days you didn't have a lot of clothing. You had a very small wardrobe, and it was important to not be having to be washing that often. And the same is true today, really, is that we do not need huge wardrobes. We can be more minimalistic, and if we have an apron that is covering our clothes are going to last longer and save us money. Number 7 is to downsize your home. Now, I know this isn't practical for all of us, but for a lot of people, I currently have an older aunt and uncle that are doing this. And for a lot of people, the kids are gone, the responsibilities of your life have changed, you have maybe retired, and do you really need the house the size that you have it? It's more maintenance, it's more costs and heating, that type of thing. So maybe it's time to think about selling your home and downsizing to a smaller home. I've even heard of people taking it one step farther and finding states that are more friendly for retired people, financially, cheaper places to live. If you work remotely, that's a great thing too. But if you don't, maybe when you're retired, it's time to find a different place to live where the cost of living is less, the size of your house is smaller, and you could save a lot more money in the long run. Number 8 is subscriptions and memberships. We often get a subscription to something with good intentions and then it doesn't get used and we forget about it, but yet it is still being paid monthly. If you have like an automatic on your credit card or bank account or whatever, these things are just pulling that money out monthly and we don't even realize it. Several years ago, I got a Black Friday deal on a monthly subscription for Hulu. And it was 99 cents a month. And I'm like, that's worth, checking it out. And we did. The biggest problem is that we're not big TV watchers. So, but I didn't really think about it. And of course, the year ended, and guess what? The price bounced back up to its regular, whatever it was at the time, $7 a month. And again, I didn't think about it. And I hung on to it until one day my husband and I were talking about bills, and we were like, we never even watch Hulu, and now the price has even gone higher than that. Why are we still paying for this and we didn't even realize it? So make sure that you don't have some hidden subscription sitting there that you no longer use. I immediately went in and canceled it. Memberships to things is another thing, and the biggest I think of is like gym memberships. A lot of us decide, we're going to get healthy, so the first thing we do is we go out and get a gym membership, and maybe for the first few months we use it, and then we slowly wane and we don't use it anymore, but we don't get rid of it because, maybe we might want to go to the gym, or we just simply forget that we even have it. My best advice on that one is cancel it. If you are not using, cancel it. Be cautious about where you spend money ahead of something that you plan to do. I personally, the one thing that I have always done is to do, if I have any great idea, I want to get in shape. Well, what can I do right now with what I have and not spend any money? When I decided I wanted to get into shape, I decided to start walking. And so I just walked out my door. I didn't buy anything. It didn't cost me anything. I just simply started walking. After I had been walking for quite a while, I finally decided to invest in a nice quality pair of shoes. My goal is to only spend money on things that will support something that I am already doing, not something that I plan to do. Number 9 is a big one for me. Be content with what you have. A penny saved is a penny earned. Oftentimes, life, to me, it can seem like for maybe a lot of people, some people, I don't know, and I'm not trying to be critical, but life is more than just the next Amazon purchase. And I think that we have to learn to, utilize what we already have and use it up, wear it out, or do without. I think that's the saying, something like that. Be content with what we already have. I've seen a lot of videos going around on having a no-spend week or a no-spend month, other than food and gas and things you have to get back and forth and work and bills to pay, obviously. And I think that if we are more content with the things we have and not always looking for the next thing to buy and the next thing we need, then we probably, many of us already have no-spend weeks and no-spend months. I know I do. I can go quite a long time without spending money on anything other than the basics because I practice being content with the things that I already have. Number 10 is brokerage accounts. Now, normally people put money into brokerage accounts so that they can then invest in stocks, mutual funds, bonds, things like that. So we don't really look at them as a place to save or put our money for saving. One of the tips that people like Dave Ramsey give is to make sure that you have enough money saved to cover, a certain period of time on, let's say, mortgage payments, rent payments, groceries, and that type of stuff. So you have that amount of money set aside and saved. And most people will keep that money in a savings account at their bank or credit union. Right now, if you have money in a savings account like that, you are going to be lucky to be getting maybe 0.1% on interest for that. However, a brokerage account right now goes into the federal money market and it is paying 5%, which is a huge difference. once you open up a brokerage account, there is no obligation to have to invest in the stock market or to have to invest in mutual funds. You could choose to do that if you want to down the road, but you don't have to. And in the meantime, you could be reaping the benefits of that amount of money in there earning 5% interest, which you would be surprised at how much that adds up and what a huge difference that is from the 0.1% that your bank or credit union is paying you. Oftentimes there's a minimum amount of money that you need to have to invest in a brokerage account. But if you've already saved for that rainy day fund, then that money could be put into the brokerage account, and I'm certain it would meet the minimum required balance. It's not really that much. What I think is so exciting about this is that oftentimes we save money on top of that rainy day fund. We save money for things like, we need a new refrigerator, or we're going to get a used car, or we're saving that up. And if you have money that you are putting into a brokerage account, you could actually, the interest that you make on that money could be used to buy that refrigerator, or to, utilize for maybe a vacation or Christmas money or something like that, and you've never even touched the rainy day fund. So I really highly recommend that if you are looking for a way to make your money make you more money, that you look into brokerage accounts. And when I say brokerage accounts, I mean things like Fidelity, Vanguard, Schwab, those types of investment companies. That's what you're looking for, is an investment company. Use one with a reputable name, and it is very easy to be able to open the account and be able to transfer from your bank already and put it into the brokerage account. If someday in the future you decide you want to invest in the stock market or invest in mutual funds, well, you're all set and ready to go for that. But in the meantime, you'll be earning that 5% interest rate, which in today's economy, I think is phenomenal. So I think it's in all of the ways that we work to try to save ourselves money and to try to be frugal, the most important thing that we can do is to keep a frugal mindset. I've often told people that, at first, as my husband had gotten out of school and we were, just getting started, we had to be frugal because we just did not have much money at all. Over time, as he made more money and things weren't quite as tight, I continue to be just as frugal. I continue to that same frugal mindset, so that the money did not just, our monthly budget and all the things that we spent money on did just not grow and expand with his income. Instead, we were able to accomplish more, save more, and have more for those rainy day funds, for cars, for emergency things that came up, because we both continued to live very frugally, just as if we were living on a tighter budget. So keep that frugal mindset. I really hope some of these tips helped you or gave you some new ideas in ways to save money on your budget. So if you enjoyed these tips, found them to be helpful, whatever, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. That really helps my channel a lot, and I appreciate each and every one of you. And make sure if you have any other frugal tips you'd like to add to my list, do so in the description box. I would love to hear that. All right, you guys, it is time for me to move on with my day, and I hope you guys all have an awesome and blessed day. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.